Hey, what's going on everyone? This is JoeYoursTruly back with another video, and today we're going to be going over the balance update that will be happening next Tuesday on March 7th. And it's a very juicy patch if I do say so myself. It's very exciting because essentially there's going to be a ton of item reworks, most notably ADC itemization is being like overhauled big time. So very exciting stuff. We're also going to be seeing some changes to the assassin and booster items and a couple of changes to some of the heroes. So this is a very juicy patch for sure. I'm just going to go with kind of the big highlights. Try to keep this kind of concise, not too long. So anyways, the kind of big thing that I thought just stood out to me immediately is the fact that they're trying to do like trying to make three potential core paths for ADC players: critical strike, on hit, and penetration. And to me, that is very interesting because at least I play like a lot of League of Legends and Smite. Used to kind of play a lot of that before Predecessor came along. And essentially, like in those kind of games, building crit on every build was just kind of standard. I don't know, that's like a kind of standard MOBA thing. All the MOBAs, just ADC, just kind of build full kind of critical chance. But that just kind of like it's the norm, right? But I think the reason why they're trying to like really trying to open this up, because essentially what they're trying to say is they're trying to make ADC builds that it's not relying on hitting that critical chance, right? And I think the reason why they're doing that in particular is because there's been a lot of complaints for like how the ADC items doesn't feel like there is not much diversity, right? And I can kind of see that because at least in let's say in League of Legends, for example, like all the items you build in AC are critical chance, but the difference in that game is that a lot of the different items and mythic items, they all do like different kind of things. So your ADC, you're building critical chance in those games, but usually you're building different items for like empowering different parts of your kit, like for example Samara in League of Legends, you build her like a bunch of like lifesteal, so just kind of like a sustaining kind of in your face kind of ADC, or for like Jinx in League of Legends, you build her like critical chance, but the main episodes you build a ton of attack speed, right? And in this game, I guess in this current like items we have before this patch, they try to accomplish that, right? Because we got Terminus, like the over healing item, and they try to like essentially kind of mimic that in a sense. Well, yes, you're building critical chance on all your items, but the goal is to have items have like do different things, so you have different kind of build paths. But the problem is you kind of go like you have this problem with the Sky Splitter, right? Sky Splitter is kind of like the main culprit. Well, you have, because since a lot of items in this game have two passives, what ends up happening is that it's really hard to kind of diversify your items, and it's most noticeable in like kind of ADCs kind of thing. Well, essentially the reason why Sky Splitter is the main culprit, because it gives you all the stats you want on any ADC build. Doesn't matter if you're building a low attack speed build, if you're building like a lifesteal build. This is the item that just has everything. You have physical power, you got attack speed, critical strength, lifesteal, and the passive is just so good. Just being able to deal max HP damage, and then you also get the heal. So it's like the reason why I think they are trying to really go down this whole path of doing just critical strike on hit and penetration is because they want to move away from items that gives you too much in one package, right? And I think once we get to the items below, we're gonna definitely see that, and I think it's very exciting because definitely I know it's just a lot of my ADC builds, or like how I see other people build their ADC. They're kind of like the similar items for the most part. And so like with this kind of new thing they're trying out, it's gonna building ADCs, like it's gonna be really fun next patch. So definitely be on the lookout for the video. So we're just gonna kind of jump straight into the hero section first. Jungle is the one that's like the best prime example of what they're trying to accomplish. But essentially, they're trying to make Jungle like a kind of high burst, kind of like almost like an assassin kind of ADC, which is really cool because the way I played Jungle before is I try to play him to burst people. So I pop E, I kind of auto attack, and once my E is about to expire, I use my ultimate. And if I'm doing really good in that game, I can just 100 steal squishies really well, right? And I think this what they're doing with Drongo's kit is very cool, because essentially I think they're trying to make him like an on hit like penetration build. So like on hit, it's critical strike is kind of like the critical strike we kind of know for the most part. The on hit and penetration is a kind of very new kind of thing they're kind of adding in. So like on hit, I saw a lot of items that are gonna be, but there's more items that focus more on hit, so you want to build more attack speed for the on hit kind of stuff. And penetration is almost like building like assassin ADC. So I think Drongo is someone that's gonna be really beneficial with the new like penetration build paths they're gonna do for ADC. Which again, once we get to the item section, we can go more into depth with that. But essentially, what they're doing is they're no longer having ability damage increase based on critical strike chance and compensation. Then kind of went across his all abilities and kind of up like the base damage, the scaling, his like Q now does damage kind of thing, and applies wasteland damage over time, which is very good because you can fight a lot of people in your queue for a good amount of time. So being able to do damage and apply dot, it's gonna be very like really good on this queue now. On B kind of got like buff in a sense, and Trap though is looking kind of nasty because late game like 375 to 425 and you get a 20% scaling increase. That's they really mean it when they said they're making Drongo more of a burst kind of ADC rather than like a standard crit DPS. So like essentially you play around his E cooldown, so that's when you kind of go and put people down kind of thing. And so you're not gonna have as good as a sustained like DPS because you won't have permanent E uptime. But in exchange, you can play Drongo almost like in a collide of Feng Mao is what I'm gonna guess. Or rather, like that's how I kind of why I like Drongo so much always, because he kind of can play like an assassin ADC, and now he's gonna be more enabled to do that. So I'm very excited to try him out. Other changes, gadget. So essentially, they're like. This one is just kind of minor. Well, not minor. Essentially, there was some tank gadget builds running around looking at Jutane, but so essentially they're just kind of nerfing this, so it's not as potent, but you can still kind of do it if you want. I actually have a video that I might be posting next week where you're doing short silver bracelet on gadgets, so be on the lookout for that. Gideon, essentially, it's the same thing. Well, you can get away with, before you can kind of get away with getting more tanky, but still do turn damage. So now they're trying to adjust his scaling. So now he has to be building more magical power so he can achieve the same kind of damage on his black hole. Mario, they're just doing like a bug fix on her base shield. Remnant is very interesting. They're not really touching him that much. So on the topic of Remnant, I think Remnant might be he has to be a critical strike chance because again, they're trying to make ADC choose between 3 different rounds with his critical strike, on head penetration, and I think Remnant definitely is going to be critical strike because he has that passive which increases critical damage. So that to me, that's kind of obvious he's going to go the critical strike route because on head, he's not going to have enough attack speed to make good use of on head, and penetration might be something to kind of consider because his always will hit really hard. So if you can have a lot more penetration, it can be really good. So that's something I definitely need to test more, but I definitely critical strike will be his main kind of build path if I were to guess. Jinbi is also like the one other like really interesting change because I guess it was a bug where her circuit rhythm will go on cooldown so as to use it rather than after it ends. So now Jinbi won't have that high uptime or E like she used to have in the mid to late game. So now there'll be more windows opportunity to kind of punish her. They're also hitting her mana regeneration, so she's not gonna have as good of a mana sustain in the early game. Sparrow, so this is one that's a little interesting because now they're trying to make her viable for penetration builds. So essentially they increase the piercing shot base damage, like this amount, they increase the scaling. So that's very interesting because I think Sparrow, looking at the items they changed down below, it's gonna be like a really work good on head because Sparrow is someone that always like attack speed, she always have innate increased attack speed on the kit. So doing the on-hit build, I think it's gonna be so good on her because you're gonna be able to proc so many on-hits way faster than any other AC we have currently. But it's very interesting. You can instead like opt to build in more penetration, so low attack speed, but that means that especially on B, it's gonna hit a lot more. So that's something I definitely want to like test, try to figure out her on-hit build and a penetration build for her kind of thing. Alright, so now we're going to actually go down to the items, and like I said, it's not just the ADC items that's being changed, it's also a bunch of bruisers and assassin items that's going to be being changed as well. So essentially, because now like what's happening is they're changing a lot of like different bruiser items. It's because they don't want ADCs to now unintentionally abuse them. Because if you're not building critical strike chance, you could be building on hits or penetration, and you don't necessarily need that critical chance you necessarily need from a marksman quest now, right? So that means you could actually go build like something like Brutalize. I know that the item they actually made specifically, like all this seems like it's gonna be a very, very good item on penetration AC builds. But for all these different changes like Brutalize and Ice Cone, it's a kind of essentially stop other roles unintentionally abusing this one, right? So essentially they want to make Liberator more like an actual CC kind of anti-cleanse item for ADCs, and Brutalize kind of be more strictly for like the boosters, right? So they're decreasing the attack speed and lifesteal and increasing the physical power in exchange for Brutalize. And Eviscerator is essentially they removed the critical strike chance. So this is what I mean. This is an on-hit item now. So this has always been kind of a spell item, and now they're gonna remove the critical strike chance, and instead they're gonna increase the scaling on, like, they're gonna give light seal to it. They're gonna increase the initial scaling increase. So this is gonna be like that on-hit kind of item if you want to go for like an on-hit build for ADC. So I'm looking at use spell. This is definitely an item that they're catering for that now. Ice Cone Talents was an item that it's actually being changed because I didn't realize, but I guess some mages were able to kind of abuse this item. So I guess I heard of Gideon's being able to use this item, so they like pop Ice Cone Talents and then they ult, and literally you just cannot walk out. They just perma slow, so you're slow by the field, but also slow by his hull. But more importantly, it used to be an increased damage just for both physical and magical, I guess. So now they're making it strictly physical powers. So now you're not gonna get that bonus damage if you're a magical base hero kind of thing. It's gonna be more strictly for physical scaling boosters, as it should be. So Liberator they're also kind of adjusting it with the ADC changes. So essentially removing the critical strike chance, but also they're increasing the lifesteal and increasing the physical power. So removing the critical strike chance is a little interesting because it's the item you build if you want to like cleanse CC. So like I'm assuming like no matter what build path you're doing, like the on-hit, the penetration, or critical strike chance, you want to have an option to build an anti-cleanse, like a anti-CC item if there's ton of CC. But the fact that we're moving critical strike chance is kind of interesting because the penetration on-hit builds won't really care as much because they're not. My guess is they're not going to be building critical strike chance. But the critical strike chance builds may be a little bit interesting because the Crests has always been a good source of critical strike chance, and so if you're going for a critical strike chance build and you want to build Liberator client clans like CC, the fact that you don't have this anymore makes it a little bit kind of like, it may be a little tricky to build a full 100% critical chance now that you have a quest that you won't be able to help you build towards that, right? That's just something to kind of consider. Or it's just a really spicy quest change that I'm really excited to try out. So essentially what they're doing is they're opening this option up to AC. So Assassin Quest was just for the assassin kind of heroes, but now they're making like one of the quest evolution, final evolution, or this. Well, essentially now they're gonna open up to ADCs, so making this into a kind of more for like very good penetration builds. Like I want to try this on Drongo because this is gonna be really fun to kind of try out on the more bursty kind of AT build. Because essentially now you gain 20% movement speed and 10% increased physical power in 6 seconds. So this is gonna benefit ADCs that can burst down people in a short time window, and with Drongo's full combo, like a full E, B, and R, you can do that in 6 seconds easy and have all that 10% increased power. You have the movement speed to chase down people. So this, and if you get a takedown, you actually get permanent physical power. So this is going to be a very spicy item. I really want to try on the Drongo penetration build on the Tuesday for sure. So again, pacify, they remove the critical strike chance and then compensate by giving it like a physical power increase. So not as spicy as always. Like always is like I said, always is the most spicy change. Besides reclamation, so this is the support change. Well, essentially, now instead of being like a decrease, like I can look. Okay, so it used to be called malediction, I think. Yeah, malediction. So it used to like just slow them and reduce their like attack speed, right? And I guess like compared to the other like quest items where you get to silence people or heal people, it feels a lot more niche, right? You only use it this is only really useful on like ADCs most of the time, and then on certain heroes like Grests who like to attack, right? But something that's just only slowing and reducing attack speed doesn't feel that impactful for like a support quest item, right? And I think it's so like underutilized that they're now gonna make it like a really really good kind of pickup option, which is that you can cleanse yourself and nearby ally heroes over 3 sets. So this is actually kind of insane, because this means that before Silent Totem was the only way you can kind of silence an enemy hero before they can use, like, think of Faye. Like, if Faye is trying to jump on your ADC, the only way you can stop her from kind of oomping your ADC with the ultimate is you can silence her before she could pop her ult, and you can turn on her before she kind of murk your entire team, right? But once you pop that ult, unless they have a CC cleanse item, your whole team is kind of doomed, right, under the Faye ult. But now there's gonna be reclamation. So essentially, Faye try to pop an ult on you and your whole team, but as long as you have a good enough reaction, you pop this cleanse, and that should cleanse the Faye ult. And that is just insane, because Faye ult is one of the strongest like mage ultimates in the game, in my opinion. And like, it's just like a Faye that like can get to the mid to late game is a very very big threat, right? So the fact that now you have this option to just completely counter her ultimate by just cleansing your whole team if they try to get tailed, it's gonna be make supporting like feel very very good, knowing that you just stop a very big enemy ultimate from like murking your entire team around like an objective, right? But this is like on the long cooldown, so definitely not something you can willy-nilly kind of use at every team fight. You kind of have to know when to use it, or kind of, because essentially you can't just use it on a one team fight. You kind of want to, if your Fang is coming up, you definitely want to try to save this just in case for that Faye ult, or whether like Steel ult or just any like big CC kind of ultimates. This is going to be that item that can really help counter that and bring some more counterplay kind of thing, which is very very good. So going over, I'm not going to talk too much, because a lot of these are kind of like the T1, T2 item changes, because a lot of the big changes aren't the full items, but I can just go real quick. Spell Slasher, they added 10 ability haste, so it's not just a spell blade that you get from it. It makes it a little bit kind of better pickup by itself. Claymore, they actually changed it from a booster T2 item to an ADC kind of T2 item with a critical strike chance, because I guess with so many different items and stats still changing, they have to like have a new T2 to kind of help fit that, and that's what they're doing with Claymore right here. Hero God, they're removing the Bravery passive, because I guess it was very hard to get good procs off this by itself. So they just, instead of giving some more raw stats, to make it a bit more consistent T2 item. So they're also doing some changes, so just some damage modifier changes for like Iron Bow, World Bow. For Rapier, this is like going back to that problem before where Sky Splitter was just kind of good all-in-one item, and like Ravenous Raptor was kind of like it was that T2 item that kind of does a little bit of everything too good on the ADC. So essentially, they're trying to like remove that, essentially make it more like you're building this for a specific reason rather than the catch them all kind of stats item. So this is gonna be an item that's gonna be involving like more penetration instead of like the lifesteal and all that kind of stuff. With both Obelisk, they're increasing attack speed, they'll decrease its critical strike chance. This is also another interesting thing you're gonna see. It's not every critical strike chance item is gonna have 20%. You're gonna have some with 15%, some with 25%. It's gonna be not the 20% we're used to, so it's gonna be a little bit weird to get used to, because if you build 5 crit items, that means you get 100%. But now you may be at 95% because that one like 50%. I don't know. I haven't done like all the math kind of thing of build pass. That's something I need to test out, but that's something to consider, that they are changing the critical strike chance value depending on the item. So this one, they kind of like, it's just some number changes to make this feel a little bit better to pick up for the stats it gives. Soul Shots is very interesting because this is gonna be most obvious once we get to like Resolution, I believe. Resolution, or one of the items. But essentially this is now gonna be more of an assassin item. So this should be only like for ADC. So like think of Feng Mao resolution. Like that's like the only way you can like kind of build mana on Feng Mao efficiently. But it's like the one that had critical strike chance, right? So essentially they're kind of removing this from like resolution while they're making this so that it's not have a critical strike chance on the final evolution. So this is gonna be very good on assassins like Feng Mao, who doesn't need the critical strike chance and needs just the mana and penetration. Alright, so now we're gonna actually get to the actual main item. So there's some really spicy ones, and you can always see that for absolution. This is a little interesting what they're doing right here, because we have Unbroken Will. Like you guys know Unbroken Will, it's kind of like the anti-CC. When you immobilize, you take 20% decreased damage. It's kind of like the way you count CC, right? What they're doing with Absolution is they're making it like an anti-CC option, but for ADCs in particular. So essentially, whenever you get affected by hard crowd control, you gain 25% damage mitigation and 40% movement speed. And that's actually a little kind of nuts, right? Again, this is on a 60-second cooldown, don't get me wrong, so it's not gonna have a long cooldown like Unbroken Will, but usually all it takes is 1 CC on the ADC, and that's how you start a team fight and you can win that, right? But now if an ADC gets like CC and they try to jump on him, like that ADC is gonna have damage mitigation and movement speed, so they can live through like game pickup just from 1 CC. So it's kind of it's interesting. It's nice that ADC have an item they can build that can help them live through 1 CC. Like it feels bad. I guess it can feel bad if you position like perfectly in one game and you step too many steps forward and you get hit by 1 CC, and now all of a sudden, oh shoot, I just cost the whole entire game, right? So I guess this is kind of what they're trying to do with the 25% damage mitigation and 40% movement speed, but also it comes with another pass where you gain attack speed for every 3% missing health, and that is very interesting because the fact that you have that and 30% tenacity, 20 magical armor, and this is a non-crit item, you can have potentially non-ADCs build this item very well. Like I'm thinking of Grux. Like Grux is someone that does not like the CC. Like his biggest weakness is CC, so you like to build Unbroken Will on him a lot of times so you can counter that CC and live to do Gruxy kind of things. But like with this item, like Grux is someone that loves physical power, he loves attack speed, he loves tenacity, and magical armor is good on him. This is an item that I think is actually going to be really good on non-ADCs like Grux, and that's something I definitely want to test out next week. So this is very, very interesting item. It may I can foresee this item being changed because this might be the Sky Splitter problem where it gives too much good stats all in one kind of item. I mean, granted, it's mostly for counter CC, but there's just so much CC in this game that this is kind of like an item you can probably go every game like no problem. As we know, this game REWORK, so essentially they're making this an on-hit for ADC. So like ADCs that love doing on-hit effects and having a ton of attack speed like a Sparrow. This is going to be an item that's going to be working very, very well with them. Because essentially, whenever your base attack against enemy heroes, you decrease your current basic cooldowns by 0.5. It's sort of simpler, but now it's more conditional in the fact that to give really good decrease in basic abilities, you have to build stacks, and the more stacks of clockwork you have, the more decrease in basic ability decrease you have, right? And so essentially, with that also comes basic attack deals bonus physical damage on hit, and this is also conditional on how many stacks of clockwork. So building stacks of clockwork will help you reduce your basic cooldowns a bit more, but also will increase your on hit kind of thing. So this is gonna probably be a very, very good item on someone like Sparrow who has a ton of attack speed. Augmentation, this is gonna be like a very big booster change, because now essentially it's gonna be a spell play kind of like item. So they even say hello to Crunch, because this is an item that I think might be a core item on Crunch now. Because like Oathkeeper was supposed to be that item with like Crunch, but it didn't felt that great. Like if the magical power, Crunch builds mostly from physical power, and it's just like it's decent, but there are other better options or better priority items to build, right? But with this, essentially, attack speeds removed, and in compensation, you have an increase in physical power. You get ability haste, very, very big on the Crunchy Boy. But now, you have a True Strike kind of passive. Well, after using the ability, your next basic attack within 6 seconds deal bonus true damage. That is definitely a crunchy item. Because essentially this is like the better version of Oathkeeper for like crunch. So I think they kind of touch on Oathkeeper down below. I don't remember exactly top of my head, but this is gonna be an insane kind of item for like bruisers, especially on crunch. I can kind of see other worlds maybe using this. Maybe Grux, maybe someone like Feng Mao can use this, but definitely. I'm definitely going to be trying this out on crunch. It's going to be very spicy trying to build this item and see how that all works. Bonesaw is also a very interesting change. This is like Grux's favorite kind of what do you call a core item to build first. But now essentially they're trying to make it better, complement sustained fight and basic attack oriented gameplay. So this is literally like they're making this item like way better, much better and well suited for Grux, even more so. Because now they're increasing the total health for 400, 600. So they're increasing the cost, so they're increasing some of the stats around too. So they're increasing health from 400, 600. That's a good considerable amount of health increase right there. And now you're building lifesteal on it. So Grux is someone that loves to all-attack people. So this is the 6% lifesteal is gonna be so big on Grux because someone like Grux doesn't get his Army Fam lifesteal until he had his max stacks of like bleed on someone. So the fact that you can start the lifesteal already with items like Bonesaw will really like make Grux like feel very good to kind of go all in early. So you have some of that lifesteal, and once your max stats come online, you have that on top of the lifesteal. So it's gonna be a very good sustained like item now, especially on Grux. And they did increase the task speed, so you won't have that as insane, but it's still gonna be very good. Breach is very interesting. It's losing its anti-shield identity and essentially becoming a dedicated anti-armor item. So essentially, this is gonna item that's gonna be really good on. It's gonna be really good on assassins and penetration ADC builds for like being able to really shred through a bunch of like armor tanks. So that's kind of like what all this is about. Demolisher. Very interesting. So it's gonna be a soft counter high armor, as I said right here, and it's gonna be complementing burst and critical strike chance builds. So it's interesting because it's gonna. So I have to like go and look because I'm thinking of building stronger full penetration build, but this might be some items that have some critical strike chance. So it won't be probably a 100% critical strike chance build, but you might. When you're building like a physical penetration build like Drongo, you might still end up building critical strike chance because of some items like Demolisher. Demon Dash, so they're trying to make it, now they're making it more dedicated sustained item for assassins. So essentially they're adding 5% army fam, they're increasing physical power, and it's just, it's almost like just like how it used to be, but now they're making it more like an actual sustained item for assassins, because it was sort of like in the real mix between like a bruiser and assassin, but now they're making it more like for assassins. So I definitely want to try this out on Feng Mao. Dreambind minor change is decreasing the slow duration, so it doesn't feel as abusive having the 1.5 seconds. So it's being reduced by like half a second. So Dust Devil is relatively kind of the same, but they're trying to make this open up to non-crit ADC. So this is gonna be probably I believe this is gonna be a yeah, it's gonna be like an on-hit kind of item essentially. Well, the higher attack speed, the faster you'll be able to get all these stacks. And Pareto, this is, I mean, Pareto is definitely the item you want to be building, especially on critical strike builds. So essentially, they increase the physical power, they increase the critical strike, so it's gonna be a 25%, not a 20%. So definitely, if you've been in critical strike, then this has to be like a must-pick item. Right now, it used to be a must-pick item, I think, for the most part. But some builds you can get away without building this item. But if you're building critical strike chance, you have to be building this item. So the reason why I'm really excited, especially to try these items on assassins, is because there's a lot more assassin-like items because like before, like the main kind of assassin item, there wasn't that many. Feel like good dedicated assassin items. Like the only main ones that kind of stick out like Mounty and a couple others. But this one's it's just rather like it doesn't feel great to build Mounty on Feng Mao, but it's like one of the few like assassin like items to kind of build. So Feng Mao always kind of feels awkward because the part of the reason why Feng Mao never felt that good, in my opinion, is because not only he has some mana consumption issues, but also like there's not as much like build diversity. So there's not many good assassin items you can build that has mana, and also works with Feng Mao's more like go in, do a bunch of damage kind of thing, get out kind of thing. But with Infernum, that seemed to gonna be one item that can really change it. Because essentially, physical power, mana, ability, haste, but the big thing is now when you do ability to basic attacks to enemies, you apply a stack of killing, and at 4 stacks, you then ignite them for like 120% total physical power. So this is a very, very good, consistent burst assassin item, because someone like Feng Mao, you're on being on top of someone that's 1 stack, you're auto 2 stacks, E 3 stacks, and then Q cancel the 4 star attack. You can proc this really, really easy in the full Feng Mao combo. So this is gonna be a very, very these kind of items. There's a lot more mana items I saw down below assassin items that I think is really gonna bring back Feng Mao back in the meta. So I'm very, very excited, 100%. Kingsbane, they're making it more like a sustain-oriented item. So physical power, attack speed, army fam. So this one doesn't gonna have a critical strike chance. It's gonna be kind of like an on-hit kind of item. So this is another item that it's supposed to be more for like ADCs, but you could potentially build this on hit bruisers. I'm looking at JoeYoursTruly. I'm thinking like you can build this as second or third, because you have the army fam, you have the physical power, you have physical power. You do bonus successful basic attack damage. So I think this is something I need to test. I think building Kingsbane and Greg might actually be a thing, but definitely need to test that. Lexi might be like it's very, very interesting, because essentially this is kind of like the cleanse item. You kind of cleanse CC when you fall below or whatever, and then gain tenacity. But now when you drop below 30% health, you cleanse yourself of CC, and you get CC immunity for 5 seconds. That is very, very interesting, because essentially, of course, like if your 30% health is low, right? So if you're a glass cannon build, it doesn't matter, have CC immunity, people can finish off pretty quickly. But if you're building like a more tanky kind of Grux crunch, or just kind of sustaining tanky fire, but essentially what happens is CC was the one way to kind of stop a Grux going rampage on the team fight. But if he gets a Lexi proc, and as long as they have enough like defenses, essentially he can kind of just hit around and do Gruxy things for like 5 seconds and not have to be affected by CC. This is a big, big change, and I think this is something that I'm gonna definitely try out on Grux. A lot of different, like, again, this is a ADC patch, but there's a lot of spicy changes like Legacy for like the assassins and boosters. Lightning Hawk, they're making it the utility for ADC to Kai chase down targets. So this is one, it's gonna be for a critical strike chance build. So it's could probably build in penetration on hit, but I think this is gonna be more strictly for this critical strike chance. Yeah, this could be on hit just because it's based on success basic attack. So if you have high attack speed on hit kind of build, you can probably take a good advantage of this. Make it possible, they're kind of changing it because essentially, I guess it was too easy to reproc your like passive on it. So now it's making it so that you have to hit someone else with a separate ability to deal like the additional application, if I'm reading this up right. Mind Racer is gonna be very, very good. So like essentially this is the item that, so I'm like spacing now because it's exactly almost exactly what it used to be, but it's a little different because let's see. So they removed the arcane strike passive, which is like the mana kind of scaling physical power one, and I think what this is, yeah, this is gonna be an item. Well, this is what Soul Chalice is going to. Soul Chalice is being added into Mind Razor. So like Mind Razor is it's like a mana scaling item, but you don't build Soul Chalice on it before. Like if I look at it really quick, yeah, you don't build like Soul Chalice. And now if I'm reading this right, they're adding Soul Chalice into Mind Razor. So I think you get Cleaver on one tree and Soul Chalice in another. So this is gonna make Mind Razor a much better mana scaling item, because now you actually build a mana scaling item. So hey, I'll skip it down. Really have not changed it much at all. So I guess it's gonna be more for magical base heroes. Because like it's literally like augmentation, but I think augmentation is just better because of the true damage, and it's a very interesting to see like because Oathkeeper is very similar. So I guess Oathkeeper is the magical base version of augmentation. I guess one way to explain it. Pain Weaver, very interesting physical penetration. Essentially, the new passive is now when you cast ability, it grants you four physical penetration and 4% movement speed. So essentially, it's gonna be very solid on assassins that like to unload the whole kit on someone. So you get a bunch of physical penetration and movement speed. So someone like Feng Mao, you can dash on someone, do your combo, and now you have 16% movement speed. So even if Modak were to push you back after you're on B, you can catch up him relatively easily with the 60% movement speed from building this. Wayman is just kind of like nerf because I guess it was a little bit too good at what it's doing, so they're kind of nerfing that. Resolution is, again, this is not, they removed the critical strike chance, and now they're making it a more penetration attack speed kind of item for ADCs and assassins. So this is something I definitely want to try out maybe on Drongo, for example. But this might be an item that works really well on Feng Mao, because again, my main issue with Feng Mao is he just goes through his mana pretty fast. So not only something like Mind Waster is gonna be very good to build on Feng Mao just more naturally, but also now with Resolution building more mana and basic attacks will actually restore 3% missing mana on hit, and the set passive will do bonus physical damage on hit based on maximum mana. So pairing Resolution and Mind Waster, it looks like to be a very potent combo. I really want to try on Feng Mao. The Sky Splitter, they're attacking it down, so it's no longer going to be the all-in-one, all-encompassing ADC item that literally can be used in any build. Now they're making this a more, what is it? They're removing lifesteal and critical strike chance, and now they're making it more like a anti-HP item, on-hit kind of build. So now, like, instead of being like on every basic attack, it's gonna be every fourth basic attack. It's gonna be how you do 5% of the maximum health on damage. So definitely, it's a big nerf to Sky Splitter because now it's not gonna be doing too good in all departments, but it's still gonna be a very good anti-HP item. So very good against like a Sevok Steel, whoever builds up a ton of HP. Stormbreaker, it's gonna be so I need to read through really quick. So they're removing critical strike chance, so it's gonna be an on-hit item, I believe, if I'm reading this right. Yeah, it's gonna be an on-hit item, so hello Sparrow. Painted rounds, it's gonna still be the dedicated blight item. It's interesting that it has the increase. It has critical strike chance still, so if you're doing a penetration on-hit build and your body running counter like a bunch of healing, then you're gonna build this item. It has some critical strike chance in your build. Terminus, it's gonna be a what's it gonna be? So it's gonna still have the critical strike chance. So it's gonna be like a it says, sorry, this part I'm still trying to understand. It's gonna be like the old King's base. So it's gonna essentially be still like the sustain option, just a little alternated, just a little bit. Oh, and I guess the new interesting thing is the new passive takedowns grants your energy instantly, so you can boost. If this is gonna be probably a really good item on Webnet still, because you ult someone, take another realm, you kill them, then you get like a shield. So even if the enemy team is waiting to jump on you, as soon as you're done with your ult, you have that shield to kind of like play around with a bit more. So this one's gonna be, instead of like a physical penetration item, it's gonna be a dedicated haste item for assassins. So essentially, this is going to be an item that's going to be based on maximum health difference between you and the enemy hero you're hitting. So very good for like assassins, and now it's other roles. One will be the abuser's role on the tension, like a Grux, because they should be bringing a bunch of HP still. So this is going to be more like a dedicated assassin item. Time Warp is a little adjustment, so if the passive feels a little bit better. Broken Wall is actually getting nerfed because instead of like a flat 20% damage mitigation, it's still gonna be increased like a 30% increase total physical armor, magical armor. So I don't know, maybe it's not that big of a nerf, but this just means that you're not gonna have the flat 20% damage mitigation. The more physical armor, magical armor you have, the better I think this will be. But I don't know the math. Maybe squishy targets will still be able to take advantage of this well, but that's something we have to definitely test. Vanquisher, this one is gonna actually be adjusted. So this one used to not have like this. So what it does is it used to be kind of a assassin kind of like item, just kind of like executing targets and getting maximum mana at physical power. But this one, they're actually making it like a full ADC critical strike chance build. So very interesting because this one's actually in hybrid. So this one is going to have a physical penetration, but now it's also going to have critical strikes as well. So the arcane passive power passive is being removed, so no longer going to take advantage of the bonus physical power. But they are increasing the execute passive from 5 to 7%. So I'm going through this again and talking like kind of what these different items would do, and it seems like Vanquisher is going to be very, very. This might be a really good item for Drongo because I think Drongo is going to multiply try physical penetration, but I think some items you're going to still end up being critical strike chance like Vanquisher and a couple items I already mentioned. So this is something I definitely want to test out. And last item, Viper. So this is going to be just getting a couple adjustments. They're increasing the critical strike chance from 20 to 25%. They added 20% attack speed to this. So essentially, didn't change any of the passives really. They're changing the stats around. And all these are just different bug fixes. So I noticed like I was going through the patch notes that I realized this. I said I was gonna try to be concise, and I really did try to be concise and explain all the different changes. But this ended up to be a very long 40-minute video. So apologies that this is a very long kind of video. I kind of see why the other patch review notes were long because there's just so much to talk about that it's just you can't be concise. You can't. You know, even if you've been concise, it'd be really hard to kind of crack this down. Because I mean, in future videos, I hope to like be able to do like patch review notes that could be like a lot more short, like on the 20-minute side. But since there's been so many reworks and like changes that it's just that's like all these items can be alone like a main topic. I guess what I'm trying to say. So anyways, I'll stop rambling. This has been a really too long of a video, but really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed this discussion and if you guys kind of learned some more stuff, see my perspective. And yeah, I think this is kind of a cool video that I want to try to get a better habit of doing, but I definitely want to only be doing it if you guys actually enjoy watching this. So thank you guys again for stopping by and watching the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.